Welcome to Naked Heart Revolution, a micro podcast for couples ready to deepen intimacy, spark sensual connection, and rediscover playful confidence in themselves and their love relationship. Hosted by Jenny Bingham.
Highly successful individuals at work, they're the center of attention. They are the ones who's making sure everything is, well, working smoothly. But what happens when you go home? When you go to your family? When you go and relax? Are you actually able to bring up another amount of energy that brings you to the success that you had at work all day long? It's a double shift. 1, physically exhausted. 2, emotionally exhausted. 3, energetically exhausted. Now, put this on, well, a mother, maybe a newborn child, maybe a child that's a couple of years old. How does she bring herself for that double duty for the children? And then with her other half. Today we're talking with Meschelle. She is a woman who works with successful people, specifically moms, who are doing fantastic at work, but realizing the energy, the capability to keep that standard up all over at work and at home is not as high as that they would, well, enjoy, need, want. Giving themselves that time to relax, that time to really connect with themselves. Sometimes don't know how. This is one of the things that is being addressed today. If you are a high achieving person, specifically a mother, who you want to have that extra strength at home and at work, there's a couple of things to see. And having a partner who's there to support you, who loves you, guides you, and we're not quite sure all the different ways that can make it really work, well, check and see. She's definitely a person who has some insights, more than just in the relationship sense, also in the self-commanding sense. Watch and see. Tell me about you now.
So I am Meschelle. Where should I start? Some of the things that I relate to with you is I also was in the military. I was in the Army. What branch of service were you?
Army.
What was your MOS?
I was embassy up.
Okay.
So
That's
professional driver.
Okay. Yeah, I was a 68 whiskey. And so I was in the Army. I loved the Army, enjoyed the Army. And so that's one part. I also did a good bit of IT, worked at SAP systems application programming.
Oh.
And I worked with a German company. So at one point I was translating German IT, like SOPs and things, to English.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
and just working on the back end of IT, so doing all like the coding and things like that in mergers and divestitures and acquisitions. So did that for a bit as well. I'm originally from the island of Trinidad and Tobago, and now I live in the States because my family moved here. I have one son. He's 30 years old, and doing this holistic life.
Sorry, you look 40 years old. You're telling me you have a son who's 30 years old. You look 40 years old. I love the black jeans. Sorry to cut you off.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is I care about the food that I eat, and I think that the state of your mind really affects the body. That's it. So in this business, and so I started initially, I worked with newborns, right? I worked with newborns as a doula. and as a baby nurse. And then while working with the newborns, I realized that moms, successful moms, and somebody else was a billionaire on in New York. So successful women who were really good at work or badass at work, kicking it at work, and then came home and didn't have a clue about themselves, about the baby, about the relationship, about the home. And I that was surprising for me. So I worked with the babies for a bit, and then I somehow started just helping the moms, through just having conversations. Moms would break down, moms would be crying, and we would start to have conversations. And I realized that some of the information I took for granted is information that a lot of people, they don't have and they appreciate. And so I started to work with women, started to work with successful women who, one, don't feel at home, and they also don't feel at home in their body, right? They were disconnected from themselves for whatever reason, and from however long it occurred. And why I focused on that or even care about that is because I know if you're not connected to yourself, you won't be able to connect to the children, and you definitely can't connect to your spouse.
I was going to ask you if you felt comfortable to share a little bit about that venture in itself, because it's redefining, it's finding a new you, being accepting of a new you.
Right. It's not so much a new me. Because what the accident has taught me is that the spirit that I am, that does not change. The body might get injured, and the thinking might be different, but the spirit that you are, when you come here as a baby, that spirit that you have, that spirit never changes. It stays the same. What happens is a lot of times accidents and things like that allow us to remember who we are. It takes us to a closer connection, because now all we have is that. So it helps us or wants us to kind of go back and just be true and be who we are. So this is who I am. This is who I was before the accident. However, I was busy before the accident. I wasn't listening to myself before the accident, or I was ignoring myself before the accident. When I was in the military, I was like, I felt the urge to work with parents where I was like, I don't want to do that. And then my family was like, a coach? You don't want to be a coach? I don't have any money. And I didn't give it any thought. I said, okay, I need to do this, and this. And then after the accident, here I am, totally aware, which I was always aware of the work I would like to do, and the work that I'm here to do, or the work that is mine to do. And I'm doing it. Not so much that I've changed. There has been realizations, and there has been a accepting of the truth, but not so much change. I think I came to terms with the identity that is mine. Like when we say, who do you see yourself as? And if you're Christian or not, or based on the religion, it's like, who does God say you are? Well, who he says I am, it hasn't changed. He was saying this before I was born. He was saying this when I was born. And he is still saying the same thing now, since he's the same today, yesterday, and forever. So it's more of coming in tune with who I am and remembering who I am. So there is no change per se.
Nice. Because a lot of times when we hear about accidents, people connect themselves of what they did, how they were able to do it, what type of personality and everything else. But not many people actually say, my spirit before is still my spirit now. So that's very profound. That's very...
Yeah. What changes is me understanding that the command that you give affects the life that you live. So in the moment of the accident, I said what I said. And 3 days later, I woke up. So it was me being careless before the accident with the commands. And it's me being actively aware of the commands that I'm giving now after the accident.
So when you say,
So the changes, yeah. So in terms of like, let's say for AI, right, we'd give a command and then it gives an answer based on what we put. So we say what you put in depends on the answer, that the quality of the command impacts or affects the quality of the output. You know, even with the food you eat, the type of food you eat, we see it in your skin, in your body, in your hair. So everything, the input affects the output. And with life, it's no different. The quality of the command that you're giving yourself or that you're saying to yourself affects the output. Like if a wife, like in your work, for example, what I mean is like if a wife says, I'm sexy and tonight I'm going to woo my husband, I'm going to be really active in the bedroom and this, and she's going to come in with a different energy.
Yes.
Compared to if she says, I don't know if I can do that. She's going to come in with a different energy now in relationships. But I think people are more aware that you can be relational emotionally with your partner, and you can do so daily, and we can learn to accept each other today.
Yes.
You know? And all this sort of thing, because now we have the talks about it. We have people working with coaches. We have coaches sharing information. We have people more connected to themselves. We have people doing the work, people being connected to their inner child, people being connected to their shadow. And once you have that like whole individual, you show up differently. Your capacity is different. And I think that's important for us as women, for us as families. And I think the children are the ones who really benefit from it. Because even for myself, when I work with parents, sometimes I give intimacy as homework. Because why are you living together and it's been 2 months, 3 months, but like, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's roommates. That's not a relationship.
What are we doing? At this point, before you get your baby, I'm gonna need you to go to the bedroom. Come back. And because now you have a different mom, a mom who is relaxed, a mom who is happy. And also, you know, of course, sometimes moms discuss about feeling as though it's a duty and their job, and people just wanting things from them additional after all they've done in the home and in the kitchen. They go to the bedroom and somebody just takes something, don't consider them and how they feel, and making sure that they enjoy it as much as the other person and things like that. So all of these discussions, of course. And so I really like your work, that you're focusing on it. I looked at the information that you sent, and there's a part about, you know, changing positions, about the clothes that you wear, about the toys that you share. And I'm working on having like this program for women. Not it's not intense, but it still is transformational. And so maybe I would would ask you to, for one of the times, to come on and share a bit about it, about your work and what you do. And so maybe whoever would like to work with you can work with you.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be definitely willing to. Yeah, it would be my pleasure, my honor, because the more people could help, the more ladies that, realize different ways to be, confident, because there's ways, techniques, just realizing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And even though we do the work, we do need partners that have the capacity.
Yeah.
Some people don't have the capacity, and that's the thing that, as a woman, sometimes, when you're younger and things, you don't take that into consideration, and you don't know. And then one day I heard someone talk about, if you have, like, I have this glass, and it's only so much water it can hold.
True.
And the glass is going to do all that it can. This is it. And as much as you love the glass and you hope and you pray, this glass can only hold whatever this is, how much ever ounces that is. Nothing is going to change that.
So true.
Unless nothing is going to change it. So when we have partners, it's important to know what we want. So before I get into a relationship, I need to know, am I at 12 ounces of water? Am I this? Am I that? What do I need? Do I need somebody who communicates with me in the morning and in the evening? Do I need somebody that is there when I'm in stressful situation? What do I need? And when I know that, I can now go ahead and get somebody that can be that what I need, and also know what I am able to give, who I am, how much ounces of water I am. Just using that as
an analogy,
right? Yeah, and so I think that's one of the main things too that sometimes we miss, and sometimes we think if you love somebody, if you like somebody, and sometimes people are willing, but they can't. They can't meet you where you are. They can't show up as you would like them to, not because they don't love you, not because they don't want to, but they don't know how at the time when maybe you're in the relationship with them. And sometimes people are not ready and willing to do the work at that point. And it's important for us as individuals to make decisions based on what we have and not on the potential that we see with people before the marriage, before the children, before all of that, in relationships. When we're getting to know people, are they calling you? Are they calling you how you want to be called? Are they taking you out? Are they caring? Are they They
even talk about checklists. It's like, oh, you should not have a checklist. You should absolutely have a checklist. Do you want them to be respectful? Exactly. Respectful to each other. One of the things I have people go through is, okay, if they're a single, because I work with women and men who are single too, but what is the full list of every single thing you want? Even if it's 10 pages long, everything else, all right. And I have some people, this one woman, she says, well, yeah, I don't care how tall he is. Now, she's 5'11". I said, you don't care? She goes, no. Oh, so he's 4'3", that's okay? Oh, no, not that. And it's like, well, guide your thoughts. Just, well, okay. And just 5'11" to 6'2". Yeah, okay. So then, and I shared with them is when you write this whole list, you're not going to give it all. Mind you, it gives a guidance. It gives a type of direction. The energy is there. So it's a fun thing as well. One person, I said that to her. She did it within, I think she said 2 weeks. Someone that she knew, they found her because the last sentence she put down for him to come see her. And it just happened that way. Another woman, she did that. But within a month, she found, or she was found by right now the ideal person for her. So it's like, okay.
Right. And you see, and that goes back to the command that we're putting in.
I was just thinking of that. Exactly. The command.
It goes back to the command. And so that's the thing that, that I'm talking about. Well, yeah, so that command is so important. What are you asking? What are you saying? What are your expectations? And life meets you right where the expectation is. And in the 40 flight fall, my expectation was to live. And life met me there. And I was like, well, God damn.
Yeah.
And that made me realize all the life before I was not putting in the right command. And even now in this life, in this experience, I'm working on really understanding the command that you put in affects the life that you have. Like, I guess in the emergency of the situation, you're holding on to anything, right? You're like, you do it. But like when you have right now, like you're sitting inside a place, there is no emergency, there is lights, there is food. You ask, but sometimes you don't ask with the true belief in, or you're not clear. In the moment when you are dead, you are clear that you want to live. And sometimes with the life, like when it's like this, you're like, well, yeah, he could be 6'1", he could be 6'2", oh, he could be like, and you play around because it's not a serious situation. Or you don't see the situation as serious as somebody else.
Sometimes, as Meschelle mentioned, people think it's not serious. People don't realize the requirement to really be intentional on what you say, how you say, your life you want it to be, the joys you want to have. Because when we're all relaxed and calm and, oh, yeah, no worries at all, deep down, it doesn't have to be a worry. It needs to be an understanding. What is the current situation we have? What is the future situation we want? This is two things for you to ask yourself. What is the exact current situation you have? And what is the future situation you want? All right. Write us below. Share a story. Or message me directly and I'll be able to share some things anonymously because you're definitely not the only one. Thank you.